I think it's like a limited thing. I'm gonna watch the Tales of the Jedi. I'm gonna watch that too. I'm excited about that. Oh, before we go, we started watching something else. Yeah, Interview with the Vampire. You want to talk about that real quick before we check out? What did you think about that first episode of Interview with the Vampire? Let me see if I can get that graphic up here.
I liked it so far. I mean, we only watched one episode.
You only watched the first episode.
It was a nice, a nice take on the not being just a copycat of the movie.
Yeah.
Like they switched some things up and did it a little different.
Yeah. And they got old boy here playing Louis. I'm gonna just like we used to say. I'm gonna call him Pretty Ricky. Pretty Ricky, what we call him. I can play Louis. I feel like it was perfect because I said that when we were watching the show that the guy that they got playing the vampire Lestat, he looks like Brad Pitt from the movie, but he's playing the Tom Cruise character. And with the whole thing about how they're always mixing and trading the races and stuff like that. Well, this one, it kind of makes sense because if I remember correctly, was Interview with a Vampire with Brad Pitt? Did that take place in France? It might have.
Louisiana.
But here it makes sense because the French purchase and stuff with Louisiana and stuff. It made sense that they would do it in Louisiana because you got the nightlife living, you got Creole people with the French speaking people there. The night scene, it fit and made a lot of sense. If you were gonna set Interview with a Vampire in America, the only two places that really would have made sense would be either the place that we always go, New York, or Louisiana. It fit perfectly.
Well, and they did this one a little different. It's not like our current movie where like the Hot D, we have black characters, and where people are like, well, those didn't exist, or they're trying.
Yeah, black people existed in America.
This is more like, we changed the color of one of them, but we did give them current issues. His family are all very light skinned.
Yeah, because they have a white ancestor.
So they have some white passing, but yet they won't hesitate to throw out the N-word at them.
Oh yeah, This is the 1920s, I believe, or 1990s, something like that. Oh yeah. It's and I saw a clip of maybe it's the second episode, maybe it's the third. I don't know. We haven't seen it yet, and I was kind of looking forward on the first episode, but it hadn't happened yet. Where what you were talking about, I think, comes into play. And I heard that the fourth or fifth episode, something really huge is about to happen. So it's typically when we enjoy a show together, it's typically comedy, but when it's not that genre, it has to be something special for me and Joy to sit back and watch it. But Interview with a Vampire, I would say maybe it's one of those shows. Do you think you'll keep? I'm going to keep watching it. What about you? You gonna keep watching it with me?
I mean, hopefully it keeps going the same.
The same
path. This first
path?
one was very interesting and a good watch. You weren't like
seeing old boy from Game of Thrones playing. And the way he delivered the accent and stuff, I was like, okay, maybe he's I didn't look him up on Game of Thrones, but I thought maybe he was an American actor. No, of course, another British actor.
Well, and I'm always the one who's like, I was like, the one who's playing the mom. I'm like,
oh man, the old girl from Commando. It's obviously she recognized her. Look, what was her name again?
Rae Dawn Chong.
Man. Was one of the It girls, and Halle Berry I think talked about this a lot. Like back in the 80s and the 90s, there were like only 5 black women that Hollywood would only cast when they wanted to hire a black woman, or if the role called for a black woman. I'm sure she was one of the ones on that list.
She was, but it also goes to what a lot of black women have other issues with is that. Because she was biracial,
mixed. Yeah,
and so
that was a standard for white people. That was a standard of beauty. If you're gonna be black, at least be mixed. Or something. It was a joke about that on Bill Bellamy's movie How to Be a Player. He said, "I know light skinned brothers ain't in right now, but we coming back." And he was like, "But when were y'all ever in style?" Oh, you remember 84, 85, 86, 87, 88. But you know, it is what it is. But this boy playing Louis from Game of Thrones, forgot his name already, but that's he Grey Worm from Game of Thrones. Yep, that was him. Man, I thought maybe this dude was a one-trick pony. Like he can only play roles without that much range or anything like that. Because Grey Worm didn't have that much, you know, emotions and stuff. But when he did get emotional, he did a great job. But his character as the vampire Lestat, I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it. All I'm gonna say is when he gave that confession in the confessional, some of the best acting I've ever seen on TV. It's like if I don't see him in consideration for some type of award from that scene alone, I'm gonna be shocked because that scene blew me away.
Had to make sure that Tits and Dragons didn't get all the
tits, there was some
all of the tits and the sex. We had to really pull out all the stops.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh yeah.
Really put some shock value into it.
Dicks and Dragons in this one. That's some talk about high D. In this one,
stuff they said, oh hey, that's where we're going. All right.
I'm like, why am I looking at this naked man for so long? I haven't blinked in 3 minutes. It's Pretty Ricky is what we call him. But yeah, so go check it out. We loved it. It was a good first episode. Hopefully it continues to be this great because I'm looking forward to seeing the character that they picked for what's her name? Play Mary Jane in Spider-Man movies. What's her name? From Bring It On. The character Kirsten Dunst, so the character that they chose. If I remember correctly, I saw an image of it. I think it's a little black girl. So I can't wait till they get to that part of the story. It's very, very interesting. It's a very good take and modern take on the Interview with a Vampire series. So we recommend it. Go check it out. We're having fun.